Hi everyone, and welcome to the Knit California podcast. My name is Leslie. I'm Knit California here on YouTube and also over on Instagram and TikTok, and this is episode 6 of my 2024 podcast series. Today is Monday, February 19th. It's actually President's Day here in the US, so I'm lucky enough to have the day off. And yeah, I'm here to film the podcast for you. So before we get into it, I kind of want to put my knitting thoughts and feelings at the beginning of today's episode. I spent last week, I had an in-person work meeting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday down in San Diego. I actually spent the night at my in-laws' house. They live a little bit closer to San Diego, just so I didn't have to drive as far for 3 days in a row. It's a really long commute for me, especially in morning rush hour traffic and then afternoon rush hour traffic. And so I didn't get a lot of knitting done this last week. I did get like 2 of my goals checked off, and I have a new cast on, so we will get into those. I'll show you what I did get complete, but I'm at that point where I'm feeling like stuck in the middle of like all of my knitting projects. I think we all kind of go through, you know, the highs and the lows and the ebbs and the flows, and I feel like I'm in kind of a low valley right now, just with the fact that I haven't cast anything off. I haven't finished a project since the first week of the new year, the first week of January, when I finished my stick season sweater. And so I'm feeling like I'm just slogging along, and every week is like the same thing. I just come on and I'm like, here's the back panel of another sweater. So that's kind of just like overall where my thoughts and feelings are right now. I feel like I need to get something done, let's get a little refresh on my needles, which I do have a new project, a new cast on, which I'm very excited about, and it's working up relatively quickly for the number of days that I've been working on it for, so that's nice. But yeah, I know in the last few videos I have expressed that I'm really happy with where I'm at with my knitting, that I'm really enjoying working on bite-sized pieces of each of my projects, and I'm really enjoying having multiple whips on the needles at one time. And I still am enjoying that, but at the same time, you know, that model of working on things does not lend itself to finishing projects quickly because you're only working on a little piece at one time. And so I am feeling, again, like I said, just stuck in the middle of some of these projects. I mean, all of these projects. And I miss kind of that finished object feeling, working through things relatively quickly. But I think I'm definitely close to one of my projects being done, kind of close to another one being done, so I think we'll get there soon. And I know once I get 1 or 2 of these projects done, I will start to feel the momentum again. I'll start to feel better, and I know one of these projects is very close to being done, so I know sometimes I come on and talk about things and I'm like, oh, and then 2 hours later I finish a project and I'm like, oh yeah, that feeling's gone. I feel way better. So okay, I know that was a lot of little bit of rambling. Let me show you my goals for this week, just so you can see what we've got going on. I had 6 goals. I completed 2 of them, and then I actually added another one, so 7 total, and I got 3 complete. So the ones that I did not get complete and that we're not going to talk about today is my Ingrid sweater. Last week's episode was mainly focused on the Ingrid sweater, and I showed you the issue that I was having with the neckline. I have not touched that yet. It's, you know, with not as much time to knit this week, I didn't even think about it, and I was like, that's gonna take some time, so I'm just gonna put that aside and come back to it when I have more time. So it was almost like it was in timeout, but I also didn't have time to focus on it, so we didn't touch the Ingrid sweater. I still have not touched my Sweet Shop blanket. That's kind of the one that just gets put on the back burner because it is a blanket. It's not a very high stakes project, so I didn't do the Sweet Shop blanket. I have not worked anymore on my field day cardigan, and then the other goal that I didn't complete was to finish my Oslo hat, but I did make significant project on my Oslo hat. So while we're talking about it, why don't I just show you that first? It's a quick project. I can kind of get it out of the way first, and I'll show you where I'm at. So this is the Oslo Hat by Petite Knit. I talk about this a lot. I have knit 10 of them at this point. And I'm knitting this up in Paisley Knits. Let me show you the ball band so you can see the info on this yarn. Here it is. So I'm knitting it up in Paisley Knits, her Crabby DK base in the colorway Poseidon. It's a 100% superwash merino wool, 246 yards per 100 grams. And yeah, the yarn color, this was from her Greek Gods collection, so it is based off Poseidon and the ocean, and I love all the blues and greens that you can see in it. It's a really fun color, and when you look really closely, some of the blues also look a little bit purple. I don't know if you can see some of those, but from far away it's definitely a blue-green color. So I folded the brim up. Just when I get to this point, I'm like, let me fold the brim up just so there's a little bit less fabric just in the way. But let me show you. I think this is where I was last week, unless I didn't move my stitch marker. I can't remember if I did or not, but I did make I did work on this a lot this week, so I think this is pretty significant progress, and I've only got, let's see, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 14 more rows until I get to the next section. So I'm working on the body of the hat right now. Once I complete the last 14 rows, I will be at the decrease section, and once I hit the decreases, I know that the hat's basically done. I can do that in a couple hours. So this is the one that I know if I just sit and work on this today, this can probably be done today, and that will give me that finished object feeling that I'm craving right now. This is also a gift for a friend, and I really want to get it out to them because I've been working on it for so long. I originally wanted this to be a Christmas gift, but I had knit so many Christmas gifts, I had knit so many Oslo hats for Christmas gifts this year. I think I knit 4, maybe 5. 4 or 5. And so by the time I was done with the last one, I was just like, I need a break. Please, I need a break. So I didn't cast this one on until January 18th. And today is February 19th, so I've been working on this one for a month. You can see I finished my first ball of yarn. So the yarn that I'm using for this is a DK weight yarn. I'm just holding it single. I do have a second ball all wound up and ready to go. I definitely won't need the whole thing, but I wasn't able to get the whole hat done with just one skein. I'm using for this one 3.5 millimeter needles. I don't know why I always feel the need to check. Like, I wrote it down in my notebook. I didn't write it down wrong. 3.5 millimeter needles, and I'm knitting the size large in the pattern, but I did add on 8 extra stitches because I found just with my gauge, doing the stitch count for the large is a little bit too small. I did that for my brother's hat. For Christmas, I was actually using 3.75 millimeter needles, but I used the stitch count for the large, and he said it's a little tight. So that's why I wanted to go up and add a couple more stitches. So anyways, it's almost done. Hopefully next week I'll have a finished object to show you, maybe just a photo if I decide to mail it off before next week's podcast as well. But yeah, happy that this one is almost done. And it is like, it is looking good. Just show you. So I think this is gonna fit really nicely. Like, it's a little bit loose on me. I mean, you want your hats to be relatively tight. And so I think for someone with a larger head, this is gonna be perfect. So okay, that's my Oslo hat. Hopefully next week, yeah, like I said, it'll be done, and then we won't need to talk about Oslo hats for a little while. Okay, the next project I want to talk to you about is my Kal cardigan. Rocky, we have a friend. Hey, Rock. Okay. He's so cute. Okay. Okay, let's talk about my Kal cardigan. My goal for this week was to get the second sleeve. I wrote finish second sleeve, but I'm not actually finishing the sleeves yet. But I wanted to do like the 100 rows that I needed to get done to get the second sleeve to a place where like it was mostly done, because I'm gonna wait to finish both of the sleeves until I finish the body. I'm doing some weird stuff with the way I'm knitting this, but that's fine. Okay, this is the Kal cardigan by Claire Jackson, and the yarn that I'm using for this is Bella Filato Studio in the colorway Cozy Flannel, and it's on her Bella worsted base, which is a 100% superwash merino wool, 218 yards per 100 grams. And I just love the pink variegation of this colorway. It's so pretty. So this is my last full skein that I actually need to wind up, because let me show you where I'm at. Okay. It may be a little hard to see because I'm wearing hot pink and this is also pink, so hopefully you can see the distinction. But we've got like half the body done, the top part. Here is our sleeve 1. This was done a couple weeks ago. And sleeve 2, this is what I was working on this week. Ooh. You can see where I changed the yarn, the skeins, like right here. Oh well, it's fine. Yeah, so next up, I'm going to finish the body with my last skein here. I should probably, okay, I'm sorry I'm like moving this around so much. I'll hold this over here. So I'm going to finish the body with the last skein. I have already planned out how many more rows I need to do. This is in relation to the first version of this cardigan that I knit last year, the green one. I wear it all the time. But I'm trying to make it the same length. Also, I don't think I'm going to get, like, I think what I have planned out is going to be exactly how much yarn I have left for this one skein. Once I have the body complete, I will know how the cardigan will sit on me, and then I can look at finishing the sleeves. So I have this much yarn left to finish the sleeves. I did try this on yesterday. I will show you a picture here so you can kind of see how much of the body I have left to go and how far I am on the sleeves. I've really got probably, I mean, the sleeves are sitting at about here right now. So I've got, you know, this much left, and then I'll do the ribbing on both sleeves, and I'm pretty sure I can get all of that from this amount of yarn left. So I'm feeling good with where I'm at right now in this project and what I have left to do. It's about 40 rows more on the body and then a couple inches of ribbing, so it's really not that much. Again, this is the project that I think will be done next after I finish my Oslo hat. I think I can kind of just like rip through this, get the body done, and then figure out how much longer I want to make the sleeves, and then it'll be done. I do have a ton of ends to weave in, but that's, you know, not really an issue for me. I don't mind weaving in ends. So yeah, I'm really happy with the progress that I'm making on this, and again, I'm ready for it to be done. I just want to show you, I do have the progress keeper still on the back here. I haven't made any progress on the back, but this is where we're going to start for this week. And if I start working on any of the sleeves, I'll move these down. I mean, you know what? I'll just move them down right now so we don't forget. I don't know. I don't think I'll get to the sleeves this week, but just in case I do, we will have the progress keepers ready to go. There we go. Okay. So yeah, there's my Kal cardigan. Happy with it. And hopefully it'll be done within the next couple of weeks. Okay, the next project I want to talk to you about is my Farnham sweater. Okay, so this is my Farnham sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, and I'll show you the yarn that I'm using for this is Dusty Yarn Co. The cream color is called Baby Beach. The purple is called Shook, and they're both on their classic alpaca sport base, which is a 100% baby alpaca 3-ply, 291 yards per 100 grams. This yarn is so soft, you guys. I know I say it in every single episode, but it's so soft. My goal for the last few weeks for this sweater has been to get the back panel complete, and I'm so excited to tell you that I did it. I finished the back panel. Here it is. On the last podcast, I was here, so I made significant progress. This was mostly done last weekend, and I love working on this project. I mean, just the yarn itself is like a really nice yarn to knit with, and it's different from all of my other projects being in superwash merino. It's just a different hand feel, and it's really soft, and I love it. So yeah, this is where we're at with the Farnham sweater. I mean, there's not a lot to talk to you about. I've got to weave in some ends, although at this point I may just tie them and cut them because I weaved in the first couple and it was kind of annoying to weave in. And I don't know if I want to do it for every single stripe, but it's looking really good. I love it. And so next up, I've got to pick up for the shoulders and, you know, knit over the shoulders on both sides, and then, you know, do the whole thing where you knit over, you increase for the neckline, you join it in the round, and then you knit the front. So we've got all of that to look forward to while knitting stripes. So yeah, more to be done on this one. But I am enjoying it. Alpaca fuzz in my mouth. Let me give you the quick stats on this. I'm knitting the size G, which is the 7th size in the pattern. Technically, this is supposed to correspond to 57.25 inches, but my gauge is a bit smaller than the sample gauge and the pattern gauge. So my sweater, I'm calculating, should come out to about 52.5 inches circumference. I'm using 4mm needles on the body. I will use 3mm needles on the ribbing. Yeah, the pattern gauge is about 22 stitches per 32 rows, and I'm at 24 stitches per 32 rows. So I did a little bit of like knitting math, gauge math, using my hopefully soon to becoming gauge calculator, and that's what I figured out. So if I had knit the next size down, the size F, which I was originally going to knit, that corresponds to a 55-inch bust. With my gauge, it would have been about a 50-inch bust. So yeah, that's what we're working with. I started this on January 26th. And got the back panel. But yeah, I'm loving this project so much. It's like, I think this is my favorite project that I'm working on. So every time I go to like look at my projects, I'm like, which one should I work on now? And I always want to do this one. And then I'm like, well, I already finished my goal for this week, so let's try to do a different one and get another goal finished. But now my goals can start over because it's a new week, so there's my Farnham sweater. Okay, I've got one more project left to talk to you about. It also includes some acquisitions and a new yarn company, yarn brand, hand dyer that I'm working with. So I'm really excited to talk to you about my Riley tee and my collaboration with Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. Okay, so this is my new cast on. It's the Riley tee by Rachel Kurihara. She's at Rachel Knits Things, I believe, on Instagram. And let me just show you it really fast where I am and show you this color. Isn't it gorgeous? It looks so good on the camera. Oh my gosh. Okay, and let me talk to you about the yarn. So the yarn that I'm using is Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. Oh, it's in that. There we go. Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. And this colorway is called Diamond of the First Water. And the base, I want you to be able to see it while I'm reading it. This is her Regency Romance DK base. It's a 50% superwash merino, 50% silk, 200 meters per 100 grams. So that's about 200... I've calculated this so many times. Yeah, 200 meters is about 218 yards per 100 grams. Okay, so this is from the Bridgerton collection that is launching on March 1st, and I am working with Selena from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. as an affiliate for this collection, and I'm so excited. I have not read the Bridgerton books, but I love the series, the Netflix series. I have watched the first 2 seasons. I watched Queen Charlotte. I loved Queen Charlotte. And I actually just started watching the first season again last night to like prepare for all of these colorways that are coming out. So Selena reached out to me and, you know, asked me to pick my favorite color to start knitting something up in. And so I picked this gorgeous color. I didn't know the name of it, but it's called Diamond of the First Water, which is in the very first episode of season 1, when Daphne goes to like present herself to the queen calls her the Diamond of the First Water. And throughout the whole, I mean, I've only gotten 3 episodes in, I think, of the first season, but throughout the whole like first season, Daphne wears a lot of blue gowns, and so the base of this color you can kind of see is like a very light blue, very reminiscent of all the gowns that she wears. But there's also these hints of purples and pinks in this color, which relates to, you know, some of the other gowns that she wears, as well as some of the other women wear, you know, during all their time in the Bridgerton world, not only at the balls, but, you know, just when they're around the house as well. And this colorway is just so gorgeous. I think from far away it kind of gives off like almost a tonal look, but when you get up close it does look variegated, which is super fun. And you can definitely see it in the knitting. You know, from far away it kind of looks like a white, light, icy blue color, and then up close you can see the purples and the pinks, which is just gorgeous. Selena also sent 2 additional colors for me to look at. All 3 of these colors have now been revealed. Actually, the one of the perks for me filming this on Monday and releasing this podcast on Tuesday, is that today, Tuesday, is the day that Diamond of the First Water is being revealed. So I didn't want to film it yesterday and release it on Monday, just for the colorway to be revealed on Tuesday, but for me to have to put this segment in black and white again. I know a lot of people didn't like that tease when I did it for the Taylor Swift collection. So yeah, now it doesn't have to be in black and white, but I wanted to show you these colors as well for my purple lovers. This is called I Burn For You, which if you've seen the whole first season, you know that's one of like the pivotal lines between Daphne and Simon when they're falling in love and they say, I burn for you, and it's gorgeous. This one is mostly, I would say, like purple, but you get those pinks and blues in there again. A gorgeous variegation. And the tonal pairing for I Burn To You is I Have Always Been Yours, which is another line that they say in like the same scene. I think they say, I've always been yours, and then she says, I burn for you. Anyways, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous light purple lavender color, and they just pair so well together. They're really, really pretty. So like I said, the Bridgerton collection is launching on March 1st. Selena, through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. is located in Norway. So if you're interested in shopping from the US, a couple things to note. I got a list. I got a note. So Selena, through the Wardrobe Yarn Co., does offer an anti-fat tax code. So it's 10% off 6 or more skeins using the code anti-fat tax, which is very nice. I know a lot of dyers are doing this now, and that's amazing. She offers free international shipping on orders over 2,500 Norwegian krone, which is approximately 235 US dollars. No code needed. So if you're getting, you know, a couple sweater quantities or, you know, just a large number of skeins, that's a great deal there. And she said it's also worth noting, due to a favorable exchange rate, that her yarn is priced relatively low in USD compared to many other US dyers. So just something to keep in mind. I know sometimes, I don't know what the shipping price is. My guess is it would be somewhere between, you know, $15 and $30. That's just in general what I've seen from other dyers over in, you know, the European area. So just something to keep in mind though, if, you know, the yarn is a little bit if the yarn is a little bit lower priced, you know, maybe you're making up for it in the shipping, maybe pool your order with a friend to save on those shipping costs and get a nice lower cost of the yarn. There's some ways you can play around with it, but these colors are so gorgeous. I can't wait for you to see the rest of the Bridgerton collection colorways. I'll pop up the ones that have already been revealed so far. You can see just all the purples. There's some pinks that have been revealed. It's a really lovely and nice spring palette, and especially if you're a Bridgerton fan, it like really totally checks out. And the yarn hopefully will arrive in time for all of us to, you know, start knitting along when season 3 of the Bridgerton series is released, which I know we're all very excited about. So, okay, let me talk to you a little bit more about the actual tee that I'm knitting. So, I really was interested. I was really excited to hear that there were 3 non-100% wool bases being offered in this collection. The one that I picked, the Regency Romance DK, is a 50/50 superwash merino silk base, which I have used a yarn similar to this when I knit my ranunculus sweaters or ranunculus tees last year, my spring tees. And I loved that base. It was from a different dyer, but I really loved, you know, just how like soft and almost cool to the touch the 50/50 merino silk base was. And so I wanted more of it for this year. And so I'm really excited to see that for this collection. And if you look at, you know, if you look at all the colors on Instagram that she's posted so far, on the silky bases, the colors are just like more like watercolory and like shiny and like silky smooth. So definitely something to keep in mind. You might want to pick up if you're shopping this collection. There's a dog barking outside. It's very loud. Okay, anyways, this tee is like a drop shoulder, but like saddle shoulder tee construction, which I've never done a saddle shoulder before, so it's super fun. It's got this twisted rib, I don't know if you can see, twisted rib saddle shoulder. It's only half twisted rib, so on the front side it's twisted, on the back side it's not twisted rib. But you do, you know, a number of inches of this on both of these little saddle shoulders, and then you pick up and do your short row shaping for the back and knit the back panel. So I'm pretty close to finishing the back panel. I've got about 25 rows left until I finish the back panel, and then I'm going to come and I'm going to pick up from the saddle shoulder seams and knit for the front, which will be fun. And since this is my first spring tee on the needles, I'm not going to have to knit super long sleeves, so hopefully this will be done relatively quickly as well. I'm still, you know, in the beginning stage. I just cast this on February 16th, so it's only literally been like 3 days, and I've gotten this much of it done. So yeah, I'm excited about it, and I've got 3 more skeins. How gorgeous. And I'm knitting up the size extra large, which corresponds with a 49-inch bust, and this pattern is meant to have about 3 to 5 inches of positive ease. So my gauge is a little bit smaller, so I don't think mine will end up being that full 49 inches. The pattern gauge is 20 stitches per 28 rows, and my gauge is 22 stitches and 28 rows. So it'll probably end up being a little bit less than that 49 inches circumference. And I'm knitting this on 4.5 millimeters for the body. And I did 4.5 millimeters for these twisted rib saddle shoulders as well. So I'm excited to keep knitting this up while I'm watching, you know, doing my Bridgerton re-watch. And my goal for this week will be to finish the back panel and maybe pick up the front part of the front panel as well, or do the next segment of the pattern. I need to pick out a stitch marker. I need to pick out a progress keeper, and while I was digging in here, I totally forgot to show you an acquisition that I got last week, and I want to share these with you. And I'm going to use one of these as my progress keeper. Let me see if I can show these to you. Look at the hearts. Okay. These are ceramic heart progress keepers from Wendy at warm stripes. I think on Instagram she's very warm stripes, but I think her Etsy shop is just called Warm Stripes. And she was making these heart progress keepers for Valentine's Day, and I absolutely loved them, and I had to buy 4 of them because they were so cute, and she was super sweet, and she's working on some like green and gold and yellow ones for St. Patrick's Day as well. So she sent over some green ones too, but I'll put the link for these in the description box down below so you can go check out her Etsy shop if you're interested. They're just like the perfect heart shape and they're so cute. So I'm gonna use this pink one on my Riley tee, and we're gonna mark my progress so next week we can see how far I got. There we go. Okay. Perfect. There it is. Okay. Alright, so yeah, I'm excited about this project too. This one is also a little bit different. Like, you know how I said my Farnham tee was like a nice break from the Superwash Merino? This being like silky as well is also a nice break. It's a little bit different. And I'm just loving seeing this knit up all these different colors. It's just gorgeous. And I want to get, you know, a good majority of this project done kind of by March 1st. By the time the collection goes live, just so that I can get a good sense of what this colorway looks like knit up, and hopefully other people can see that as well when they're looking to, you know, make a purchase. So yeah, like I said, I'll have an affiliate link to shop the collection on March 1st. So thank you. Okay, I think that's it. I don't have any more acquisitions. I did buy a decent amount of yarn last weekend. So last weekend was the Taylor Swift collection went live from Ruby and Roses. It's now closed. And the Treehouse Knit Winter Tonals went live. That's now closed. There was something else. There were other collections that went live as well. Long Dog Yarn. I don't remember all of the other ones, but I purchased a decent amount of yarn last weekend in a couple of those collections. I got some Taylor Swift yarn to go with my Taylor Swift themed blanket that I'm planning. I got some more winter tonals from Treehouse Knits. I think I got something else that I can't remember right now. That's okay. That happens. But that'll all be coming in, you know, soon-ish, and I'll definitely show it to you as it does come in. I'm definitely getting the itch to start rearranging my yarn shelf. I think I talked about this last week. So maybe there will be a yarn stash organization video coming soon. I'm kind of thinking about planning like a spring cleaning your yarn stash series. I think that's how I'm going to talk about it, because I want to talk about destashing tips, organization tips, and then also like tips for like intentionally building up your yarn stash. So I think that's going to be my next like 3 video series that I work on when I have the time and I'm not, you know, in the office or traveling or, you know, doing all this other stuff. When I have the chance, I want to work on that video. And I think as part of that video, I will like pull out my stash, kind of show you how I organize things, talk about tips for organizing, tips for destashing, and then putting it all back as well. So that's my thought, that's my plan. I wish I had like this whole week off from work. I could just sit down and do that. But I don't. I got things to do, people to see, stuff to make happen in my work life, which is way less fun than my yarn life, so I don't know. But I think that's it for today. It was a, you know, I think still a pretty decent size update for you, but for next week's goals, hopefully, like I said, the Oslo hat will be finished, maybe the body of my Kal cardigan, and a little bit more on this Riley tee, maybe the back panel will be done. And my favorite project, that the thing with the Farnham sweater is like, it's my favorite one to work on, but I feel like it's like really low table stakes. Like, I don't need to get it done. It's not a gift for someone. It's not to like help promote, you know, a yarn collection that's coming out. It's just like the one that I want to work on the most. So I don't know, maybe more of that'll be done, but we'll see. You'll have to come back and find out, or follow me over on Instagram, because I'm always posting, you know, what I'm working on at the moment in my stories and showing you when I finish, you know, a section of whatever. So that's what's going on over here. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I went into my analytics the other day and it tells you like how many people watching your video are subscribers versus not subscribers, and there's like 40% of you that are watching my videos that aren't even subscribed. So hit that subscribe button so you can come back for more, and it helps me grow my channel here on YouTube, which I greatly appreciate. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!